Hi everyone, Jamie Humphries here for Six String Alliance, and today we are taking a look at the brand new TCD classic overdrive distortion from Wampler. So I'm back. Yes, I've had a little bit of a break from YouTube. I've been really, really busy. I was on tour for just over a month. And as well as that, I came back and went straight into an album project, which I put to bed last week. I was mixing and producing and mastering and recording. I had people in and out the studio. I had files being sent to me for reamping. That was quite a mission. And on top of that, my partner is tour managing Roxette at the moment. So she's out on a European tour. So she's back and forth. So I'm sort of juggling work and being a full-time dad. Something had to give, and that thing was YouTube. But I am now back, and things are getting a little bit calmer, so I can catch up a little bit and produce a bit more content before Christmas. Now, Wampler is a company that I've been working with for a number of years. I'm a big fan of Wampler pedals. In fact, if those of you saw my digital board setup, you would have seen that I have a Tumnus on my board. I have the germanium Tumnus in the front of my Tone X rig, and I reach for Wampler pedals a lot. Big fan of the Moxie as well, and I've toured with the Paisley Drive. So Wampler reached out to me about doing this pedal in time for the launch. I thought I'd get it done, but in the end I was like, guys, I'm just too busy. The demo will have to come afterwards, but they still wanted me to do it, and I still wanted to put the demo together. So that's what we are looking at today. So the TCD, the Compulsion Drive. This is the latest pedal from Wampler. Now, Brian Wampler has this knack of being able to take classic circuits and, I wouldn't say reinvent them, but definitely add his own unmistakable twist to them. And that is definitely the case with the TCD. Now, this pedal is based on the classic OCD pedal, which was a pedal used by a multitude of different guitar players. I must admit, it was something that I kind of overlooked. I've kind of said in the past that I was never really an overdrive pedal person. I was more about clean boosts, or very mild overdrives that would act like a boost, or treble boosters on top of a crunchy amp. But since sort of using Wampler pedals, I've become a little bit more into using overdrive pedals, stacking them on top of the amp. So this pedal is based on that classic OCD circuit, but there's a little bit of a twist to it. So first of all, let's look at the layout of the pedal. You have your level and your gain. We have a mode switch there, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then we have a 3-band EQ. Now, Brian has opted to keep the original tone circuit here, but add the bass and mid controls. Now, Brian himself said that the tone circuit was very important and a big part of the sound of that classic OCD pedal. Now, with the mode switch in the down position, that gives you more of that classic OCD tone, gain structure. But when you push that switch up, it will increase the gain. And also for me, it's sort of made the mid-range sound a little bit more lifted and a little bit more defined. I guess that's a result of introducing the additional gain. I think it's routing through some different clipping diodes or something. Again, I'm not much of a cork sniffer when it comes to this stuff. Just know that when you push that switch up on the pedal, you get a little bit more. Now, as well as that, in the back of the pedal, you also have 2 dip switches if you take the plate off. And one of those will increase the low end, but as Brian says, it increases the low end in the right place. And also, there's a little bit more gain. There's another switch there, which increases the gain slightly. Now, Brian has said also that the engaging those switches in the back, the dip switches, will in fact introduce another variant of that classic OCD circuit. So basically what you've got here is an OCD pedal, the classic pedal, or one of the other versions of that pedal, a different circuit, as well as having the option of shaping the gain slightly more to your taste. So a pretty versatile pedal. You tend to find that with Brian's pedals. He doesn't just make clones of things. They've always got something else going on under the hood. Okay, so before we get into the listening to the pedal itself, let's just talk a bit about the gear that I'm using. I'm playing my Music Man Axis Super Sport, the one that I always use, my custom one. Had a new bridge pickup fitted in this. I now have the Fast Track 1 DiMarzio. This has been my pickup of choice for 35 years. I had a slightly different pickup in here that just wasn't working for me. To me now, this guitar sounds a lot tighter in the low end and a little bit more open. So I'm very happy about that. I'm using the Friedman Plex. I wanted to go for something with a bit of a sort of classic British tone to it. Also, the thing about the Plex, I like the fact that it's a little bit driven. It's not clean. And I like to add overdrive pedals in that way. And then I'm running the Friedman into the new 2 Notes Reload 2. We're going to be taking a look at that unit soon. A big fan of 2 Notes gear, and I've been using it for nearly 10 years now, actually. I've been working with Guillaume and the guys. I use this on the album that I've been working on. It's absolutely fantastic. And I'm using Genome, that's on the Mac in the other room, and I'm using one of the official Friedman Dyne IRs. I'm using a 25-watt greenback cabinet. So let's disengage the pedal and let's just have a listen to my core tone. Here it's a little bit crunchy. If I go single coil and just notch off the volume slightly, it cleans up nicely. So let's kick off by having all of the controls set in the middle and the mode switch down. Okay, let's experiment by bringing the gain control down. I'm going to push the level up slightly. Okay, let's experiment a little bit with the EQ. Let's push up the mid-range. Ooh, that's kind of nice. What a powerful mid-range control that is. Boost a little bit of the low end. It's got almost like a cocked wah-wah sound to it. Let's start to bring in a little bit more of the gain. That's really nice. Push the gain up more. Obviously, we can push that further, get quite gainy. That's a really kind of natural sounding overdrive distortion. That's really nice. Let's go on to the single coil and the neck. These are DiMarzio injector pickups, so they're noiseless. I know what I'm going to do. I've got this setting on this guitar that I love, that if I hit that switch, I bring in the neck pickup. So you get like, it's kind of telly-ish because you've got the bridge pickup and the neck pickup. Yeah, that's really, really nice. The other thing that's cool is if I go to the next setting, I've got all 3 pickups together. And if I back off the tone, that's very cool. Let's bring that mid-range down now and push the gain up a bit. Mid-range control is fantastic on this pedal. I really like that mid-range. Let's just experiment with the bass. Obviously, I'm doing some quite extreme adjustments to the EQ controls. Yeah, very, very responsive EQ. You could hear that as I was bringing in the EQ, it was the bass. It was starting to obviously. Oops! I've just moved the pedal. It was starting to add that weight to the sound. That's the gain all the way up. Okay, let's now engage the mode switch and click that out of the classic OCD sort of circuit. Whoa! It's really tight sounding. That sounds really nice. I've never used one before, an OCD. And yeah, straight away this, I'm thinking, why have I never used one of these before? That sounds absolutely fantastic. I really love the mid-range control on this. It's really nice. You know, even with the mode switch in, you push that mid-range up. It's just the guitar is sitting in a really nice space. Yeah, that sounds really cool. So I just took a moment to flip the dip switches over. I took the back off of the pedal. Just a quick apology, actually. When I stopped to take a break, turn the camera off, both the cameras off. Second camera had a catastrophic error and I lost all of the close-up camera. So when I edit this, it's for the first half, it's just going to be main camera. So hopefully the demo still works for you. Anyway, let's have a listen. That's the amp tone. Kick the pedal in. Yeah, noticeable amount of gain there. Let's push the switch down. Yeah, I can hear it in the low end. I'm not sure if I like that. Okay, when I start to push the treble control up, that sweetened things up a little bit. There is a lot more gain, noticeable gain. Yeah, I think I prefer it in the initial state. Although that's nice. That's nice. I like that. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't like it with the switches pushed over with the mode switch down. But when I brought the mode switch up, which increases the gain further, I felt that it tightened the sound. I think I preferred it in the initial state, if I'm honest, before engaging the dip switches. Although it was kind of nice when I pushed the mode switch up. Maybe it's the guitar that I'm using, but I just liked this. This isn't a very high output pickup on this guitar at all. To me, it sounded a little bit cleaner without those switches being pushed across. So there we have it, the TCD classic overdrive distortion pedal from Wampler. Brian Wampler's updated look at the OCD, that classic OCD circuit. Lots going on, 3-band EQ, 2 different modes, as well as the switches in the back for additional gain, as well as additional low end. So you're kind of getting 2 pedals, if you like, in one, or maybe 3 pedals in one. There's lots of variations with the dip switches as well. I push them both across, but you could just have them, you could push either one, obviously, to tailor the pedal to your taste. For my money, I liked it in the initial state. But that's kind of opened my eyes. That's a useful pedal. I do like the sound of that. I like that soft switch as well, that we always have on, or a lot of the time we have these on Brian's pedals, so you don't get that clunky click. And it's the usual great looking pedal. It's quite minimalistic in design for this pedal, but I guess again, it's echoing the original OCD. That's it from me. I really hope you've enjoyed this demo. Hopefully the intro track gave a little bit more of an idea of what the pedal is capable of, rather than my aimless noodling. So anyway, I look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye for now.